Dear Hope Solo, it's time to take a break. I'm not saying leave the national team. I'm not saying hang them up for good. Those are decisions for you to make. You're clearly the top of your game, or at least close enough that you're still head and shoulders above the competition. But there's an issue. And for those of you who are not Hope Solo, which is everyone watching this, because I know she's not scrolling YouTube looking for random strangers with opinions. A while back, Ms. Solo was charged with a couple counts of misdemeanor assault for an altercation involving her half-sister and the half-sister's son. She was allegedly belligerent to the police upon her arrest. The case wound its way through the court system, and charges were eventually dismissed, apparently because the half-sister and the nephew refused to testify. The prosecutors appealed this decision, and very recently another court has reinstated the charges against Solo. This isn't in particular about these two charges. This makes my commentary timely, perhaps. This gives me a reason to post a Monday morning video. But really what I'm getting at is that there is a problem. Ms. Solo, you have a history of arrests involving alcohol. There is a problem there. I'm not saying you're an alcoholic. I'm not saying you're a problem drinker. I'm saying that whenever you have an encounter with the police, you seem to be intoxicated. And when you're intoxicated, you seem to be belligerent. You're currently one of the best women's soccer players in the world, and maybe even one of the best soccer players, period. You are idolized by millions of people in the U.S. and around the world. You have endorsement contracts and deals and make a livelihood in excess of what underpaid women's players can make because of your success. It's time to take a break and figure out why you keep getting arrested while drunk. I'm not saying there's a direct connection there. I am saying that it looks kind of familiar to me because in interviews and whenever we see behind the scenes footage, you seem pretty soft-spoken, pretty kind, pretty nice. And I know a lot of soft-spoken, shy, troubled people who self-medicate with alcohol. Not saying it's you. Saying I see something there that reminds me of something I've seen before. In part because you are in some ways the face of U.S. soccer, which I care deeply about. But that's also because you're a human being. What it comes down to for me as a soccer fan, and kind of a fan of human race when they aren't really annoying to me, is that there seems to be an unchecked problem here. Whether Miss Solo was the victim of this family assault as she's claimed, or whether she was the aggressor. Whether she was belligerent to the police, or that's a complete fabrication in their report. This was not her first encounter with the criminal justice system. This was not pure happenstance walking down the street looking suspicious so she gets stopped. There's a history. There's a history that seems to involve abuse, seems to involve belligerence, seems to involve unchecked behavior when alcohol is involved. That's why I say, Hope, take a break. The Brazil games are coming up. Obviously you would want to play in these, but at the same time, it's a great chance to get some kids some playing time. Bill it that way. You and Jill Ellis can have as many closed-door meetings as you want. You and U.S. Soccer can figure out what the big approach is here. Maybe they'll say you're cleared because of the previous investigation. But I'm talking about for you. You need to get things straight because someday soccer's not going to be there. Someday there's not going to be training camps and time away and things that quiet those voices in your head. And you're going to have a lot of time possibly to drink and possibly to fight. So let's work on that before we get to those days so you have a long life to come when the sport's done.